The U.S. Department of Justice sending a letter to Minnesota's top elections official requesting recent records of the state's voter registration practices. Of particular interest are documents pertaining to votes accepted through what's called vouching. Tonight, we're digging deeper into this poll practice. Here's what the Secretary of State's office says about vouching, and I'm quoting here. A registered voter from your precinct can go with you to the polling place to sign an oath confirming your address. This is known as vouching. A registered voter can vouch for up to 8 voters. You cannot vouch for others if someone vouched for you, end quote to the verbiage. Vouching also applies to eligible voters in a residential facility. In a letter to Secretary of State Steve Simon, dated today, the Justice Department is giving Minnesota 15 days to produce the requested records for all federal elections held in the past 22 months, which does include the March primary election and the November general election. The purpose, the letter says, is to ensure Minnesota's registration and voting practices comply with federal law. In a sit-down interview leading up to the general election, KTTC Capitol reporter Quinn Gorham asked Simon about the integrity of vouching. Here's what the secretary had to say.
In the years I've done this job, I cannot recall a single instance of a false vouching, because people know they're making an oath under penalty of perjury and they're going to get busted. They're going to get caught if they lie. And I haven't seen any evidence that that is an issue.
Other states also have vouching practices in place. In the Hawkeye State, an eligible voter without an acceptable form of ID, like a driver's license or a passport, can have their identity verified by another registered voter in their precinct, just like in Minnesota. However, it's a bit different in South Dakota. The vouching does not come from another registered voter. It comes in the form of an affidavit from the individual voting. In other words, South Dakota allows a person to sign a voter registration form saying they are who they say they are and where they live without confirmation from another registered voter.